Now, I asked you to tell me what your biggest challenge is, and you said it was finding balance. And I know that we've talked about that a little bit, but I just want to, if you wouldn't mind, for listeners' benefit, really kind of plot the path that you took to find that balance, because it's evident from speaking to you that you have gone from a place where maybe there was mental chaos.
Yes.
To where now there is mental and emotional calm.
Yes.
And I think offering people the breadcrumbs to be able to follow the path to their own mental and emotional calm is a real gift. So if you were sharing advice to anybody on how they can find that sense of peace, what would you say the component parts of that work are?
I feel like I always tried to find the balance. I feel like I always was like, oh, well, I'm doing this bit of work over here and I'm going to go over here and make sure I'm rested, or I'm going to take this holiday. But then what I do in the lead up to the holiday is plan the holiday so much. Actually, I didn't get any rest. And then I felt stressed on the holiday. And like, then I felt like I need to be creating content on the holiday and Like I just never, ever stopped. I think the catalyst for me was I've been through a lot of loss during my recovery. My way of coping with anything that happens emotionally that's heavy is to do. And I would ping pong between massive highs, massive lows, massive highs, massive lows. And I'd always go and speak to my GP and I'd be like, I'm not well. I literally do talking therapies. I've been in talking therapies and stuff most of my adult life, even before cancer. So it's like, I know the things I need to do to get myself well. The issue is there is nothing you can do to get yourself well if you're mentally ill. No amount of bubble baths, no amount of yoga, no amount of stopping drinking, no amount of meditation, no amount, if it's a mental illness, nothing will make it better. And one thing I pride myself on is that I really, really work on myself and I really, really try and make myself well. And then the middle of last year, I think it was like the year before, it was around the time my friend Hattie died, which is like September. And I went south pretty quickly and I was really struggling day to day. And I went to my GP and I said, I don't know what to do. Like nothing's working. Like I went sober, everything. And I was like, something's got to give. There was no magic cure. And I said to my GP, like, I don't know what to do. Like, I need help. I need psychiatric diagnostics. I need something. And she said to me, okay, well, we'll put you forward for psychiatric diagnostics. Do you want to go onto medication? I said, I will only take medication if I get psychiatric diagnostics. So she's like, okay, I've been in and out of therapy for years. I've been in and out of diagnostics for years. I've always known that I've had severe anxiety, depression, but there was just another layer. There has been for years, but it was getting so loud now that I couldn't like even begin to like explain it. I was like, this is so much bigger than me. Like I felt like I was losing my mind. And so I took this medication, like took it with me, and I put it in my drawer and I didn't touch it. Because even though I had it, I was convinced I could make myself well. I convinced it was me. I convinced if I could just do this, if I could just manage this, if I could just get on top of this, it was like ridiculous, to the point where at the end of 2021, I had a proper like breakdown. Well, I was a little bit of psychosis. I was convincing myself things were happening behind my back. People were saying things about me that they weren't. But like convinced. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating. My heart, when I think back to my heart rate, I was probably like in panic, like fight or flight, constantly for about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It was horrific. It was just a very heightened state of stress. But it was cumulative. It had been years of this building up to it. And I remember ringing my mum and just saying to my mum, I'm not okay. Like, I don't know what's going on with me. I need help. Like, what the hell? And she was like, you've had tablets in your drawer for 4 months. Go and take one, pack your bag and come home. So that's what I did. And to be honest with you, for me, the medication was the catalyst for what I'm going through now, because I started taking the meds. By the time it got to March, April last year, and I just moved into my house, they'd kicked in. And I was able to hear myself for the first time in I think I can ever remember. So when stuff happened with Deborah and, the house move and stuff, even though it was stressful, I was still able to maintain a sense of self and go, you cannot do the thing that you've always done where you throw yourself into things, because you are going to end up where you were at Christmas. And when I tell you, that's terrified me. And it wasn't because I thought I would hurt myself or anything. It's just because I had no control over my head was not mine. It wasn't on my body. I don't know whose head that was. So that's what scared me. I was scared that I would inadvertently hurt myself because I just wasn't taking care of myself and I was like not rational. So I was more scared of that happening again, that I then just went, I'm not doing it. And then over the space of a year, like I had my psychiatric diagnostics, like there's still things that were working out with me, but loads of things that are coming up now that make perfect sense. And it's hard at 38 to go, I'm finally getting the support I need for my brain. But then you feel a bit sad for that person that's been trying to pull themselves out of the rubble for so many years on their own. But I don't want to make the listeners think that there was some magic order to what happened, because it wasn't. It was a case of me going back and forth, the same pattern to the point where I broke, for me to actually understand I was mentally ill, not mentally unhealthy.
Right.
That I needed proper medicine to make sure that I'm okay. And I may be on it for the rest of my life, I may not, but I don't care, because I've never ever, I'm still Loza, but I am a much calmer person. And as a result, everything in my life's better. And it's been that kind of process for me. It's made me this way. There's not been, like I say, like a breadcrumby thing. It's literally been hitting your ass on the rock bottom and then going, oh, okay. Actually, I do know a time I was wrong by thinking I could bubble baths would make me mentally well.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that, because when you said that earlier, that is one of my biggest bugbears. And I've worked in the beauty industry, as you know, for 2 decades. And one of the things that makes me, there are actually quite a few things now when I think about it, but one of the things that makes me angriest is this idea that we exploit people's mental health and tell them that a beauty product that foams, melts, or fizzles will in some way offer them relief to the symptoms of depression, anxiety, OCD is so, it's not even unhelpful. I believe it to be dangerous.
I believe it's
offensive to me.
Yeah, me too. Like, that's why as well, when you ask me like the breadcrumbs, and I do with a lot of other things as well, like people say, oh, like, how do you find balance? And I'm like, well, I take medication. And then because of the medication, I am then able to make decisions that are right for me, like going for walks, like, oh, I know I need to move my body today, like I'm going to cook healthy meals for myself because I feel that I really need it. I need to nourish myself. That wasn't happening when I wasn't on the meds. So I will never make out like it was. Do you know what I mean? Like, who doesn't love lighting a candle, babe, and getting a bubble bath? It's not going to make me well, though. Stop taking those tablets. I'll be off my rocker. Do you know what I mean?
But I think that is a breadcrumb, because for some people, actually going to the GP is something that they're not willing. It's a threshold they're not willing to step over. And actually, by you saying that, might not seem like a breadcrumb, but it might be the thing that empowers somebody tomorrow to. It's like when I talk about alopecia. The amount of people who say, "I've been really scared to call the trichologist, but I called them because." Like that's empowering.
I understand. I do feel like, you know, when it does, just to be said, like when it does come to mental health, I'm a very big advocate of someone to go and get talking therapies first, so you know what you're dealing with, because I think a lot of people can use medication to mask what's going on. I got to a point where I couldn't talk about what had gone on with me anymore, because I'd laid it all bare and it'd been years of chat, and I knew it was the right next step. But if you are feeling overwhelmed, I just would highly recommend getting some talking therapy in.